find ourselves on beautiful golden aura once again. Spawning right here in the bottom right-hand corner, in the blue. I guess it's close to his, you know, his actual username. We have Cyan.
And in the upper left, being a rather convivial person, sitting there and being always polite, he is Nice. I think that's the worst intro I've ever done, Loco.
It was great. I loved every moment of it. It's one of those names, though, where at some point, right, as a StarCraft caster, you don't realize how frequently you use certain words until you're casting a player that's, you know, whose username, like, you don't think you use the word nice very frequently at all. It's like when time used to be, or Olivera rather used to be called time, I don't think anybody really thought about the fact that they used the word time very frequently during a StarCraft cast. But then when you cast one of those players, you realize, nope, apparently about a dozen times every single... now I'm doing it too, where I'm tripping over my own words. About a dozen times in every StarCraft cast do you use the word time. Used to be Olivera's nickname. We'll have to see how frequently we use the word Cyan and Nice.
Do we need to establish? I mean, you've heard of a swear bear, right? Like or swear jar, right? Every time you say something, you drop it in. Do we need to establish a swear bear for Nice?
No, I think it's fine. This is funky, by the way. Both players going for a proxy pylon on the right side of the map. Cyan mostly just using his just to confuse the opponent a little bit, but I think Nice may be up to no good, as he's indeed proxying a robo facility.
God, you know, Loco, I introduced him. I was talking about how he's, you know, Mr.
Yeah,
Congeniality.
not very
he's
nice
always
at all.
polite. This is not polite, okay? This is downright mean.
Yeah. Probe is gonna try and scout, but this is mostly just a pretend scout, right? He just wants to be here and tell his opponent, oh, we even have a pylon going down there to see what's popping out of those gateways. So he mostly just wants to see what's happening here on the other side of the map, but it's not really going to change Nice's strategy all too much. Cyan, by the way, flipped a coin and it didn't land on a Stargate, so at least he's got that going for him. But is this gonna be good enough?
If you can last long enough, well, actually, this is 3-gate robo. I don't think this, with how forward it is, he might decide to get, he's going to get an immortal out of it. Because, of course, there are two ways you can take a 3-gate robo. You can just do it for the Warp Prism and get very aggressive with Stalkers, or you can get the immortal first and have a little bit more power. And if Nice was going for the actually, is this 2-gate? Yeah, no, this is 2-gate robo, never mind. I was going to say that I kind of like if this was just pedal to the metal, 3-gate, building a bunch of Stalkers. I really like it for Nice. But if Cyan can identify what's happening here and just start building a Void Ray, you get the Oracle to put pressure on the other side of the map, make your opponent go all in, and you get Void Rays out, it's a really solid hold. And by kind of making this a little bit slower, right? And part of it is Warp Gate's not done yet, which is understandable. But by kind of pit stopping for the Immortal here, it buys a little bit more time for the Void Rays to pop out and have that really powerful anti-ground tech. But for now, Oracle is actually, you know what? There are only 2 Stalkers here. There's not a lot of anti-air. But I guess there's enough for the time being. He's going to be forced back. And at this point, just send the Oracle across. You know, force damage on the other side. Force Nice to be all in. Because realistically, certainly as we have Warpins here, Loco, Oracle doesn't do a lot on Cyan's side of the map.
No, I don't love him activating the Pulsar Beam. I feel like he should have just flown that one straight across the map. Gateway is now going to be in a little bit of trouble since that Prism on the low ground is providing the vision that those red units need to go ahead and shut it down. A Void Ray, though, is coming. We have a load of shield batteries already done, too. And that is going to make this defense so much easier, especially now with Cyan also having that Oracle on the other side of the map. He should be able to get quite a bit of work done. Don't go down the ramp, though. We really don't need to chase.
Yeah, you know, good news for now is that because this Oracle was revealed, Cyan's, this could be a free Immortal. It's not going to be for the moment, but because Nice saw the Oracle and saw what was happening there, he was able to get a shield battery on the other side. He's able to just like warp in a single Stalker back home. So the Oracle is not getting a lot here now. Well, we're going to see the overcharge go down, or the prismatic alignment go down. So the Void Ray kills that Stalker. Is going to knock the pylon down fairly quickly. Problem is, there are 2 Immortals here as the Void. Well, the Void
he
Ray's
didn't
dead.
actually make that second Void Ray for a very long time. Just lost the first one as well to just what seems to be 1 or 2 Stalkers there. A little bit sloppy right here by Cyan for certain. I'm not sure exactly what the reason is as to why he didn't start up an additional Void Ray, but I think just making as many of those as possible is going to be amazing. There is going to be a Force Foot available here for Cyan, but obviously the Prism here is going to be used to, well, just elevator units into the main base, just like so. And suddenly there's a massive army in red overwhelming. The amount of stuff getting the Prism would be a way out of this situation, but it also stays alive. Void Ray is going to be activated, but we don't have we don't have a battery overcharge available here. Prismatic alignment also did not really happen, though. Okay, well, I think that's basically game over.
You know, Loco, I think it's fitting that our red player took game one because Nice was all over Cyan, like red paint, all over a mini.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what that reference is all about here whatsoever.
We saw, you splash a bunch of red stuff all over a bunch of, all over a main base.
Yeah, no, Fear Dragon, he knows all the details here, all the ins and outs, but I guess Fear Dragon would have already made Dark Templar in that game.
True. It's funny, we talked about this. If you get Void Rays and you don't lose them, I do like that as a hold. You're only building 3 Stalkers at a time. If you're able to shell away at some of them, there's only so much gas, especially if you're building Immortals. Like, that's a really good hold. But Cyan shows his Oracle instead of running it across the map. So there's no timer now on the economy of Nice. He loses the first Void Ray, trying to go and knock the pylon down. And I thought with Prismatic Alignment he'd be able to go and kill the Stalker, kill everything. But I guess there was a warp in and it wasn't maybe handled properly. We didn't really see. But if you do that, right, if you don't lose the first Void Ray, you run the Oracle across the map ASAP, I think that's a hold for Nice.
Yeah, he also chased the army down the ramp for a little bit and then had, I think, at least one Stalker force-fielded out of his own main base and essentially lost that for free. So, yeah, it's one of those games where I think there were just a couple mistakes all together, all in one row, and then ultimately you just don't end up with enough army to really defend. The production on the second Void Ray was also very late. I assumed he was building that the entire time, so I'm not entirely sure why he, didn't build that one sooner, but ultimately he just didn't have the units there to defend, and, well, seemed like a pretty easy win there in the end.
Maybe it was a gas thing, like you want sentries to force field things out, and that delays the second Void. I don't know. Again, I also wasn't paying attention to the gas counts in production as much, because, again, you assume it's just constant Void Ray production. I agree with you. At the end of the day, though, we're another day older. At the end of the day, we're getting ready to move into game 2. At the end of the day, I'm stalling because I got to go find Neil's camera. At the end of the day, we're moving on to Oceanborn.
There we go. Alrighty, good old Oceanborn once again. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have Nice, currently leading this best-of-3 series 1-0.
And the ever left, trying to match his other 2 teammates, because Coffee for Mystery Gaming 1, Nanami for Mystery Gaming 1, now trying to make that happen. Go 3 for 3, down 1, Cyan.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you technically have all of the tools to defend, but then you actually have to execute on it as well, right? And that's one of the beautiful things of StarCraft. Even having the right build order, even when you're playing everything quote-unquote correctly, you still have to execute your actual micro there too, and, well, you can still certainly squeeze out a victory even when you do end up playing a build that is objectively worse than your opponent. So, nicely done right there. Oh, God. Properly done right there by Nice. I didn't want to use the same word twice there in one sentence, so I corrected myself immediately. But we'll see if there's going to be some cheese here once again.
So, Loco, here's what's going to happen. Every time you say the word Nice, when you're not specifically talking about the player's name, I'm expecting a dono on my stream the next time I go live. That's the swear bear, right? Like, that's the equivalent. I'm tracking it.
How much am I on right now?
I like 5.
I think like 5, yeah. It used to be the worst, especially with time, though. Like,
oh, man.
I don't really think a pro gamer name change is a great plan overall, so I don't think changing your nickname... I mean, if you're going to change your nickname, I do think winning the World Championships on the back of it is pretty clever, because, that helps people learn your new username, but... Time definitely was one of those names, one of those words that you just used dozens of occasions. There you go. You used it on dozens of occasions during a cast, and him changing that one. You don't accidentally use the word Oliveira very frequently.
We could just be getting into a really in-depth conversation about great MMA fighters. I'm told that Oliveira is a great... As someone who doesn't follow MMA in the slightest, I'm told that he's like one of the best. So,
there's a couple of StarCraft casters out there that will give you all the details, but I'm not one of them.
Man, it's like I'm sitting there, like I'm casting with Wardy or Zamagard when talking about Pokemon, and I'm like, I've heard some of those words. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I know the first 150, but anything past that point, I have no idea what you guys are on about.
Dude, I wasn't allowed a console or any sort of Game Boy growing up, so I just did not have any of that. What is interesting though, as we talk about this game, is it is a Phoenix opener from Cyan, as he's playing very defensively in this game. Now, do you think this signals a desire to go into Phoenix play, or is this just keeping yourself very safe against any sort of other aggressive option from Nice?
Yeah, the nice thing about Phoenixes in general is that you just you usually can defend against everything, assuming you micro will, right? And that is the big if. You need to be controlling your army very, very deliberately, right? You have to be controlling everything perfectly. And it can be super easy to accidentally lose one of those units. Now, it's just going to be a single Phoenix here, though, for the time being. He's going to go for a Nexus on the low ground, too. It's going to be Nice, once again, who's ready to bring the heat. We do have a liftoff right there on one of those Stalkers, and it is going to go down.
I do like that. Yeah, generally Phoenix is the loneliest. One Phoenix is the loneliest number. It doesn't really do all that much, but as a force multiplier, it's fantastic. Now, that being said, this is still a big commitment coming out of Cyan, or coming out of Nice right now. He's got a 4th gateway on the way. I want to say he's got, 3 gateways. So this is just a 4-gate all in. Cyan's got to give up the low ground. That's fine, though. You know what's happening. He's got a robo on the way. He's got these gateways on the high ground. Now, you have to be careful if you're Cyan, because these gateways will go down. There's really not going to save them as soon as you get some sort of high ground vision. But that is the downside.
Yeah, he's actually just expanding behind it, though, which is pretty good for him.
I like that. Yeah, that just, you knock your opponent's base down, you have some pressure on the map, and you just take advantage of it. You make your base and you defend it.
Exactly. White Rob would be proud here. We have that observer, though, or a probe rather, inside of the... Well, wait, this is a Phoenix right now, but he already confirmed it earlier with a probe, too. I guess that Sentry, with its newly buffed weapons, ended up getting rid of that scouting worker from Cyan pretty easily. But now he can do, like, a bit of a contain over here on the other side of the map. When the Immortal is out, I would imagine that life is going to be a bit easier here to once more secure the low ground. But by the time that he does so, the Nexus for Nice will be pretty much up and running.
And this SimCity from Cyan is, I don't know if I'm going to call it good or just ugly as hell, because it is just, on the one hand, you got to fight your way through multiple angles.
It's modern art.
Yeah, there we go. It's, well, he's going to try to go down the ramp right now, lifts everything. Guardian Shield gets popped. Sentry not able to fight with this Immortal. I mean, we saw the shields get shredded here because, of course, of the singular new Sentry that Nice has as part of his army. But he breaks down the ramp, so he should be able to expand. This Adept in the main base doesn't really... It's going to get like... Oh, no, he's not going to get a single one. Excellent micro there coming out of Cyan.
A little bit of pickup control with the Prism. Not something we very commonly see, but you can obviously use it to save those probes as well. Probes with Blink, man. That's a pretty good way of doing it.
I think every Protoss unit should be able to research Blink.
Well, with a Prism, they basically can.
Oh, true.
Other than flying units, I guess.
Just imagine the terror that is Blink Disruptors. Like, actually giving them Blink versus, the Warp Prism pickup. Because you can put maximum 4 units in a Warp Prism with a Disruptor, it's 2, but imagine blinking Disruptors. You blink up to the high ground, you get damage done to a mineral line. And they said Cliff Failing is bad.
Yeah, I wonder what the most overpowered unit with Blink would be. We do have a bunch of Adepts going into the natural expansion. They're going to get recalled. There is, in the meantime, also that Warpin in the main base. Stalkers, though, and the Immortal. Okay, they're going to get picked up once again.
Well,
what about Blink High Templar?
Ooh, I know, Loco. I think it depends on the player as well, because I think if you give Colossus Blink, you're actively nerfing Hero. He's just gonna... All right, great, guys. I can win the game. Oh, wait, yeah, I just... Oh, yeah.
I'm just thinking of the amount of times you could feedback all the units, if you do have your Blink High Templar. You get rid of all spellcasters from the opponent. It's not bad.
Look, as a Zerg player, that doesn't make me very happy. And it's hard enough as it is. Mainly because I'm bad. But in general, it's like, oh, that's pain. I do like the fact, though, as we talk about, I guess not really Blink, but it is pretty fun to see more sentries becoming more and more core to mid-game Protoss armies as this game goes later. Generally you get a couple, but as we develop the patch, now it's like 3. Yeah, Guardian Shield's great, but let's strip the energy from Immortals. Let's strip the shields from Immortals. That's pretty cool. What's also cool, though, is Cyan is hitting a razor-thin timing right now. His Blink is done, or a pinpoint time, better way to say that. His Blink is done now. He's got a couple Immortals here. He's up 10 army supply. Adepts are going to shade into a mineral line. And I guess they're not going to shade after all. But he's going to commit into this fight. And yeah, there are sentries, and there are terrifying, powerful units against all these shields. I don't know how much it matters. He's got Blink. His opponent, well, he actually, yeah, no, Nice has Blink as well, but the problem is these Immortals, this army supply differential that Cyan has makes it nigh impossible to hold on to that third base. So Nice will lose the third, but, well, Cyan, he doesn't have his third base on time, so this is just equalizing things. Into the high ground here, tries to Blink on top. Warp Prism's dead, and that means now the Immortals are firing from the low ground. The Sentries are, there's no way they're getting out, but now blinking onto the low ground, and it was okay, I guess, but little over aggressive from Cyan.
Yeah, absolutely. Those Immortals, they weren't firing there for a big chunk of the battle, and ultimately that does now allow Nice to at least somewhat stabilize. He is able to push this back, even though this had potential from Cyan to just straight up win the game. Not having those Immortals participate in a big chunk of that battle because the prison went down is, yeah, very unfortunate. So now he's going to be forced to make his own third Nexus there. I think if that prison would have stayed alive, he could have done a ton more damage, but ultimately, well, Nice manages to stabilize, and he will be able to recapture that base. And now he's going to add on a lot more gateway production too, so he's going to go all the way up to 8. Suddenly, this game is looking a whole lot better here.
It is, and I think Cyan's still in a pretty solid spot. Third base a little bit faster, having more armies, well, having a more technical army. And also, of course, making sure to use the Immortal skin where you can't really tell the difference between Immortals and Stalkers. That being said, charge is done here for Nice, and a bunch of charge lots against Blink Stalker Immortal does very, very well. One might even say it's pretty nice for Nice. See, that doesn't count, Loco, because I did it intentionally. But anyways,
I've already changed my commentary twice just because I didn't want to use the word nice there. So we do have some harassment here inside of the main base. Some might call it good, some might call it decent, some might use another word, but nobody would ever call that nice.
I think we need to take a page from the Korean fans and talk about how it's sparkling, or the old Korean ads. Ooh, this is cool though. Look at what Cyan's doing right now. Against a match charge lot style, this is actually, I think this is the way to play at times. You just get a bunch of adepts and the zealots, they go poof, they evaporate, they're gone.
Yeah. So Glaive Adepts are very powerful, but at the same time, it can also really go poorly, right? It's one of those units where, like, if you warp them in right now already and you fight before their upgrade is done, as we do have an aggressive blink forward right here from Nice, does catch a couple of those Stalkers. This is a scary moment because it takes a while until all of those upgrades kick in and until those units are really helpful. Until that point, Nice is going to have a very scary force, and I think he may just be ready to attack. How many Adepts do we currently have? Only 2. Okay, so he's not committing to them too early here.
No, and you say Nice might be getting ready to attack. He's posturing, certainly.
Yeah.
First of all, this Oceanborn and running up the ramp is pain. Second of all, Cyan has 4 Immortals. So, yeah, Immortals can't blink. You got a Warp Prism that kind of does it. But, man, punching up high ground into 4 Immortals and all these Blink Stalkers and the Concave and everything else, that feels really hard. That doesn't feel like something that Nice is going to be able to do. So he backs up and gets himself more stuff. I'm a little surprised as we see both players just kind of sitting at home that we're not seeing a forge. You know, we're not maybe getting ready into a 4th base, nothing like that. So it's just kind of more of the same as we progress into this game. And I guess it works because Cyan is now the one that wants to be aggressive on the map as Cyan, or as Nice tries to play defensively. And now we have Adepts, right? We're at 10 Adepts right now. We're up in 6 more. So does the math work out here? Adepts are going to get set, or Zealots are going to get sectioned out. I mean, they just pop. Look at that.
Yeah. No, that was absolutely amazing right there for Cyan. He's actually just looking to potentially win the game here if he can. I don't think you want to commit there with all of these Adepts, because you are going to need them here at the front to deal with all of those Zealots from the opponent. Now suddenly the Immortals are very exposed. Battery Overcharge does get used, and I really don't like this corner that Cyan has got himself wedged into. A lot of those blue units in the back are not really firing behind those force fields. Nice getting the best engagement he could have really dreamed of, but the question is it enough? Those Immortals on the left side of your screen are having a grand old time just plowing away at all of these Protoss units from Cyan. You know what? Is Nice still able to stabilize against this?
I'm looking at this. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a horrendous fight from Cyan.
Yes.
It's not good whatsoever. The shield battery overcharge lasted the entire time. Wow. A lot of the army was fighting probes, and somehow it's actually still good for Cyan. I look at the supply. He's up.
Yeah.
He killed so many I mean, he killed 19 probes, okay. But more importantly, I guess Nice cut probes pretty significantly. So all of a sudden it's a 30 worker deficit. And yeah, Nice has a couple more units. Yes, all the Immortals are dead, but I mean, how do you move out on the map right now? Adepts are going to be in every single mineral line for the duration. I
think
Immortals are getting made back at home, but you kind of have to, because it's a 32 worker lead, and that's not something you come back from easily at all.
No, I think Nice has to go. He should not really keep those, let those adepts from the opponent, let him, you know, force him home, because he's just sort of chasing down units right now, but all the while this is going on, Cyan is remaking army of his own. He just decides to tap out. I wondered if maybe he still had a chance to go across the map and, well, win with the unit composition that he still had left over after that big fight, but I think that was about the worst engagement Cyan could have taken, but luckily for him, he was just so far ahead that it didn't really matter.
Yeah, you're looking at this. I'm like, man, this looks like this is a throw, right? This is like Cyan. He's fighting
everything in one big ball over there, and the battery just having a grand old time overcharging. And
Immortals at the front line, so they're going down pretty quickly. You're like, this has got to be bad. And then, you know, it doesn't matter. He lost the fight, but won the war.
Yep. So. I would not want to be a Protoss unit in Cyan's army in this particular war, but he ultimately did end up getting it done there. Maybe I'd be an Immortal. Yeah, just for the name of it, you know. The name Immortal is pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, they're pretty cool. By the way, I'd like to point out that Cyan on his account, he's rocking the Oliveira Katowice profile picture. So, you know, clearly that's why he won game 2.
Is that it?
I think he had the profile picture in game 1 as well. So, you know, that logic falls apart, but clearly. Clearly that's how.
Nyal also has a customized profile picture. Usually whenever we run these tournaments, everybody's sitting there with the default Kaczynski portrait, right? So you just have a lobby full of people that just have all the default StarCraft portraits. But apparently, yeah, Cyan went out of his way. You also have you know what? I'm going to change my in-game portrait. Just because everybody's got a customized one, I will change it too. I'm going to change mine to Alex007. There we go.
There we go. That's trying to make sure you get hired next to these nicely.
Well, that was the first one that I saw on my screen. But yes, sure, let's go with that.
No, back when the final pro, because I rock the pro league logo across all regions, because you know, there was a move on Reddit like back in 2016 when we had the last pro league finals, and they had this portrait you could go buy. It's like, look, let's not let the memory of pro league die. Everyone just rock the final pro league portrait, and I have been doing that ever since. At this point, you might call me old-fashioned. You might just call me old, but I'd like to remind you all that 20 years ago, I was watching Loco stream StarCraft in the back of the chemistry lab, and yes. Loco was in StarCraft at this point, and I would just, you know,
I didn't even speak English. That is true. I remember I had one loyal viewer.
One loyal viewer.
I didn't know how to run the internet. I didn't speak English, but BO was already watching.
I was watching on dial-up somehow. I don't even know.
Yeah, a bunch of fireflies floating around your head.
Those were the days. There we go. I was downloading image by image, just what was happening. 1 FPS.
It loaded in top left to bottom right, you know, exactly. 1 pixel at a time.
It's impressive the things, you know, the way that the things we'll do to try to go and get ourselves to support the people that we think are pretty cool. Anyways, talking about players to support that we think are pretty cool, in the upper right, in the red for Mystery Gaming, it's Cyan.
And his opponent down here in the bottom left, it's Nice.
So Loco,
we have a new map, a map we haven't seen yet today.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Alcyone as well, but maybe I'm just biased because we had that Cyan Clem game in Atlanta, and I'm just like, this is the best game. This is the best map that's ever been played in the last 5 years.
It's a good map.
It was pretty good. But Loco, I got a question for you as we're getting ourselves ready, set here to. There we go. Now we found Neil. I did the thing where I hopped onto your camera instead again.
We were both playing Observer Chicken here, where we're both looking at Nice's main.
I'm like, why are things not moving? What is happening here?
Y'all hard at work in the background, and he doesn't even get the camera time he deserves.
But anyways, what is your favorite team logo, and why is it Little Fairy?
My favorite team logo. You know, it took me too long. I realized this about 2 weeks ago. You know the Twisted Minds team logo? I was casting a game, and I literally said, yo, you know what's kind of cool? This logo looks like it's a brain. And then I realized My own stupidity after casting so many classic games that, yes, Twisted Minds has a brain for not my brightest moment. Don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, though. We've had some cool logos over the years.
What we're learning here, Loco, is that our brains as casters are just as smooth as the Twisted Mind logo has wrinkles.
Yes. No, it's basically a bowling ball at this point.
I take the washcloth and I just polish it every morning. You know, I gotta get that spit shine going.
Yeah, we gotta have as little surface area on our brain as possible. Get rid of all those wrinkles.
That's how the intelligent thoughts just roll right on off. It's like, you know, I had a good thought. I got like my one good thought of the day and totally gone. But hey, you know what? We're not going to be subjected to a macro defensive game, at least not for the time being, because once again, we got a robo. We got a 2-gate robo. We're eventually going to be a 3-gate robo. But this time it's not nice. It's Cyan going for that version. So game 1, we had 1 player opening Stargate, 1 player opening robo, and this time Loco, shoes on the other foot.
Yep. It's going to be Cyan opening up with the Robo. Nice opening up with the Stargate. Okay, does kill one of the opponent's Stalkers, actually, which is really nicely done right here. I did it again. It's really properly done right here by Nice. Yeah, no, I've done this. I think you missed a couple as well.
This is mercy.
Thank you. I will get the bill after the cast today.
Exactly.
This is how many times you've used the word nice.
Look, Loco, I already owe... I made the mistake of betting against cats in an America's broadcast last weekend because it was Disc in future, and Disc was in a very winning position. I'm like, yeah, I think Disc wins this. Sure, cats. I'll bet a nice meal against you, whatever. And then Disc doesn't move out for like 5 minutes, and Future just like chips him to death from a losing position, like from a down position. And it's like, well, that's not my fault, cats. That's Disc not moving out on Ghost River. Like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, now I owe him a nice meal, a succulent French meal, and not in a nice restaurant down in whenever I see him next. So I gotta make it back. So I gotta pay for it somehow.
It's a fine dining. You're gonna have to bring like, you know, a button shirt at the very least. Make sure that everybody's nice and dressed up. We do have the Oracle flying in here. Nice, not really achieving too much, but he does see the Robo facility on the other side of the map and immediately fires up a Void Ray for the base defense.
Yeah. By the way, Loco, that's 8.
Sorry, what?
A nice meal.
Ah, dang it. Every time.
Every time.
Luckily for me, I never used the word Cyan.
Well, see, the rule is it's only for nice. You're allowed to say other words, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So coffee was totally all right as well?
Yeah, that'd be too restricted.
I see. We do have Cyan going across the map. Ooh, nice stasis ward. No, there's another one! No! Oh, okay, well... If you need more time to get defensive units out, it doesn't get much better than this.
You know what? There is a world where we say it's actually kind of good that they both got stasis. Because now you can't jump on top of the Immortals and not the Stalkers. What
about these Stalkers, though? These Stalkers are so dead.
Well, what's also dead,
Oracles in the meantime also getting a lot of damage done on the other side. Yeah, excellent stuff right here for Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking game 1 about how you send the Oracles on the other side ASAP to make that damage happen. And it seems like Nice is paying attention. They went back and listened to what we were saying, because at this point, this army from Cyan is powerful. It's got 2 Immortals, it's got Sentries, it's got Force Fields, it's got that anti-shield power that the Sentries generate. But there's a shield battery overcharge. There are a bunch of Stalkers here. The Void Ray, yes, Prismatic Alignment is over, but I don't know that Cyan has enough power here, even with the Warp Prism for pseudo blinks and with these Immortals. I don't think he's got enough power to punch through this, and his economy is just totally shattered.
Absolutely. Those Oracles on the other side of the map have forced Cyan to go fully all in here, and he needs to get it done with this army that he's got right now. Problem is, the longer that this takes, the bigger the army from Nice is going to be, because his eco is significantly bigger. Oracles aren't even done yet. There's 2 shield batteries, battery overcharge. It's going to be available again here momentarily, but I don't even think Nice really needs it. He's now going to start chasing this army outside of the natural. GG is cold. It's going to be Nice.